right, thank you everybody for tuning in to this episode of Revolutionary Talk. Today we are going over a very interesting, unique topic.
Yes.
We're going to discuss empaths and what it means to be an empath. This is a new subject for me, and I'm very interested in learning along with everybody else. So
I bet he's an empath.
What makes you think that?
I saw his human design the other day. So you have a good background of being an empath. I mean, break the ice on this.
Well, I feel like, what questions did you have about it?
I mean, just for everybody listening, like, how would you describe like what an empath is, what it means to be an empath?
Oh, so I can go both angles here.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I had to ask because I'm like, all right, maybe I'm sensing both sides. I feel like I was an empath from a young age, so I may not have realized that I was an empath probably until the last few years. And I just figured everybody else was the same way I was. So, that said, describing that, okay, so I like to, anymore, it seems like I like to spend time alone. Like, I need to distance myself from situations or from people or whatever the case may be, because some time that I spend with others or overexerting myself at times, leading up to this episode with everything that we've been talking about with the self-care, we have to fulfill that empty bucket. And so the empaths really, I think, feel that because we're giving so much to the world and wanting to help other people, but then sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that's what I kind of got caught up in for a while. How about you? Did you notice that?
Yeah, mine was really just absorbing other people's emotions and not really knowing which emotions were mine or why I was feeling what I was feeling. It was almost that weirdness of like, why am I thinking that? And then especially after like coronavirus and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, those weren't my emotions. Those were somebody else's. I haven't had those thoughts since I've been alone. And I mean, that touches on really when you just put yourself in your own place. It really just allows you to know your own thoughts instead of, oh, I'm picking up Brady's thoughts. Why are you thinking about that right now, But
Okay. So really, like, I mean, it comes from the word empathetic, right? Where you're just thinking of others.
Yeah.
And you guys speak to, you have to be alone to actually get your own thoughts sometimes. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's like the curse to it, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Yes, and then I would say too, like to expand on your definition of empath too, it's like, I think there's empaths out there that physically do feel how other people are feeling. So like, for instance, if you had a stomach ache and somebody, maybe one of us, like I know he senses this, sometimes people like, oh my gosh, like what's wrong with your stomach right now? Like,
yeah, I'll pick up headaches off people. We were at a healing retreat, and I actually walked past the healing and pulled the headache off the person. Was like, holy crap, it hurt.
Right.
And I was like, I'm out. I gotta go clear real quick. But
Who has a headache?
yeah, no, we can sit in a room sometimes and be like, all right, who has that? Like, it's driving me insane. But
and then we take it on like if we don't know better,
exactly,
we take it on thinking that it's ours and we own it, and it may not be ours, but then it settles in our body because we're telling ourselves, oh my gosh, I have this. You can't do that.
Yeah,
you have to let it go.
Interesting.
Have you ever witnessed that? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I definitely relate to when you guys say you need to be alone to actually get your own thoughts and your own, like, I don't know, I guess feelings. So a lot of times I do, like, ponder what other people are thinking in the room, which is pretty interesting. And I always just kind of thought everybody did that,
right?
But maybe not.
It gets crazy, man.
Yeah. So for somebody who might be curious if they are an empath, how do you figure that out?
Relatively, it's just the isolation part's huge. If you're thinking, like, for instance, why am I thinking about, say, like, essential oils before I knew Kristen did essential oils? Then I find out, oh, she does essential oils. Oh, crap, I was kind of pulling into her wavelength. Or, say you're out on a date and you're like, why am I nervous right now? Oh, it's the other person who's nervous. You're pulling their emotions into your, personality. Or you're like, oh, crap, I wasn't nervous. They were, but I was taking their emotions on for them. Mm-hmm. Is that something you...
Yeah, and I didn't know it at the time either. It's that uncomfortable feeling. It's like, I don't know this feeling. Why am I dealing with this right now?
And it feels foreign. That's the best way to say, like, I almost ask myself now, is that something I normally think about, and then it's like, nope, that's somebody else's. But
Yeah. And to answer your question, I mean, that helped me discover or that skill, I guess you could say it is. There's great books out there.
for sure.
Judy Orloff is a great author about that. She really helps to spread awareness about empaths and those who may be more sensitive, as it's been said too. Because, I mean, for instance, like growing up, me being diagnosed with ADD and ADHD.
Yeah.
How many empaths probably have been diagnosed with that?
No, it is, because if you think about it, you got 10,000 thoughts in your head because you're pulling his thoughts, your thoughts, my thoughts. It makes sense.
So there you go. We have the industry trying to.
Yeah, but
I took a stab.
count it.
But there's a lot of ways. There's great descriptions on what personality types and what empaths could, like their traits that they possess too.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think that helps everybody a lot. I know I learned some things there, so that's awesome. So thinking on the content side of things, I feel like this is kind of a more fun one than usual because you can almost like capture certain emotions, especially on the video side of things, of what an empath like goes through, pros and cons and things like that. So what comes to mind for you?
So I'm kind of thinking of using Kristen maybe meditating with a green screen background and show like all this stuff coming in as she's trying to meditate, and then kind of like opening her eyes and blocking it out with her hands of just like, I'm done. And then kind of allow the music to show peace of mind there, portray the peace of mind. Almost like you're meditating, but you can show the madness. But then as soon as you block it or create your protection, whether you have a crystal or any other kind of metaphysical, or even an oil, if there's an oil, to really just block out all the absorption and go back to you.
Right.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. And as far as photography goes, man, I mean, I'm thinking like the alone time is a huge thing. I wonder too if there would be a way like in post to get some like distortion around her as she's like sitting there peacefully, kind of envisioning.
I'm in a
what it's
completely
like for
different
her.
dimension. Just don't mind me over here.
This could definitely be photoshopped and definitely just portrayal or like self-care for empaths. People don't really know they're an empath, so they go toxic on it. So create almost like that alone time is, something, go kind of back to the self-care topics of alone time, and then that is your time to recharge as an empath. So as an empath awareness, take your alone time, create your outlets to really get away from other people's emotions.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think this will be a fun week of content
for sure.
So, say for somebody out there, maybe they discovered they're an empath. As empaths, what are like the pros and cons, and what should they look out for? And just from your experience, what
It's a
tips do you have?
superpower. It's super cool. Kanye West said that actually. That's when I picked it up. Would you say the same? Once you really harness it and know kind of the bad side of it, you start to learn what.
Once you become aware of it,
Yeah.
But then you also, you mentioned earlier, I think, that having to go through the toxic stuff to realize that empaths attract a lot of narcissists. So you have to be aware of that too, and just like, how do you handle yourself in situations?
Yeah, I'd say from a creative side, I mean, this is right up my alley of what we do endlessly. When I work with clients, they're like, how did you know I wanted that shot? And it's like, I can almost visually see what they're feeling and they can't say, and I use that to, my advantage of, oh, here's this cool shot I have in my head. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wanted. Great. Well, glad we could help you there. So I mean, that's where you can really like tap into somebody else or feel their emotions of what they can't get out and use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Dang, that does sound like a superpower, especially for a content creator.
I think all content creators are empaths.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Awesome. So for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check out content relating to empaths this week. All the links are in the description to Revolutionary Wellness and Kristen's Instagram. Thanks for having this conversation with me, guys.
Yeah, thank
This was
you.
good.
It was awesome. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.